All right, we are back at the interviews at Hill House, and my name is Josh Schneider. I'm filling in this particular show because, well, I like jazz, and so this is a jazz show. We've got Mike Tracy is back, and we have Davide Logiri. Logiri. I knew I was going to screw it up. Yeah. And so they're back. Davide, this is your first time at the Hill House, is it not?
In this
venue?
Yes. It's the first time.
Yeah. And of course, Mike, you're a regular here.
Been here a few times, yeah.
So welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. Where are you from?
I'm from Milan, in the north of Italy.
Okay. And what instrument will you be playing tonight?
Well, we were playing jazz, some original tunes written by...
What instrument?
Yes.
My instrument, I'm a pianist.
Yes, a very famous pianist.
No, in my building I'm the most famous.
I've been listening.
I'm quite sure.
Yeah, I've been listening to your recordings, so
okay.
Yeah, you've definitely got a reputation over in Italy, and we're happy to have you here. It's very exciting to have you guys here playing original composition tonight.
Yes, some original composition, some standard with reharmonization, with a new flavor, new settings. This is the...
Yeah, a variety of material.
So first off, how did you guys, I mean, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's been, what, 20 plus years that you two have been playing together?
Yeah, we first met in UK many years ago. I was attending a master class. He was leading this. So in a way, he was the teacher that year. But the years after, we were touring together Europe. After that, we did some other tour in Italy. And I was here in 2009, playing in Louisville, teaching in university. And after that week we recorded an album.
We did.
So in a way it's a sort of reunion, you can see.
Yeah, we met back there at one of the camps in Richmond, England, outside of London. And we became friends. We played a job, and I enjoyed playing with Davide, and one thing led to another, and here we are.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Is that one of your camps?
No, it was one of Jamie's camps that Jamie Ebersol. They had one every year in the summer, and we would go over, and the students would come throughout the UK, throughout Europe, and he came from Italy, obviously, and other places, and we'd meet all these people and play music and lasting friendships.
Nice. Very cool. Well, so let's talk about, as I talked to you guys yesterday, I apologize. I don't know a lot of Italian jazz. I should, but I don't. And your start was more in classical, correct?
Yes, I also graduated in classical music. I attended a conservatorio, the biggest academy in Italy for that. But my music was always present in my house, art in general. My grandfather was the director of a major theater in the city.
Oh, wow.
And my father was a guitar player, a rock guitar player, so I had a strange childhood in a way. So you know the stereotype of the father coming in a room and yelling at you, lower the volume of this music. Well, in my case it was the opposite, because I was the classical player, listening to Cianna. He would come and say, turn it up. It's a bit of a joke, but there's some truth in it. And so,
well, and your dad is not just some dude. He is it? And you're gonna have to help me with the pronunciation. He was the guitarist for Franco Battiato.
Yes, Franco Battiato.
Yeah.
They shared a long cooperation, and Franco Battiato was one of the most important songwriter and composer. My father was his guitarist and arranger.
Yeah.
Many of the first songs are co-written Battiato Logiri, and so I remember him in the house with other arrangers. They toured big events, and so the music was there. But I was more a jazz guy.
Yeah.
So in my way of playing, there is the jazz, some love for rock and pop, because my people, in the 60s in Italy, they were mad about the Beatles, the Rolling Stones. And I like very much Brazilian music, and these all things in some way came together to shape my own style, my own.
And keep in mind that at that time period, Davide's quite a bit younger than I am, and even then there weren't jazz schools.
Right.
So if you went to school as a musician, you were a classical musician, as I did when I was a young person. And the reason he came to England was because they really weren't teaching that in Italy or other parts of Europe, or they didn't have the teachers at that level that they're used to playing with. Now that's changing.
Right.
But 20 years ago, that was pretty much the case. People would come, and I have friends that I keep in contact with from Scotland and from other parts of the European continent, and they're not playing and teaching themselves. So it was a matter of continuing it on. So it's not what happened to him is unusual because his father was such a musician. Yeah. Most parents aren't like that. So that was a great opportunity for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But then you also had the great Herbie Hancock come into your life.
Oh, well, my first influences were guys like Herbie, Oscar Peterson, so musician deeply rooted in jazz, but with a strong blues flavor. So I like a lot that kind of that thing.
Yeah.
In a way, many people say that my way of playing, although even with my background, is more black, it's less European, and more, because I listen to a lot of Herbie Hancock stuff, both the work with Miles and more funky stuff like Headhunters and everything else he done.
Well, yeah, he was constantly evolving his style.
Yeah.
Starting obviously with Miles and then going off into Headhunters, and then he's doing like what was the Rocket was the in the early 1980s he was doing experimental stuff with that.
Rocket.
Yeah. So what a great place to kind of find your jazz piano voice, and of course Oscar Peterson's one of my all-time favorites as well. I mean. Yes. He's Canada's national treasure, so he's a good one.
I was amazed when I was a kid that his swiftness is a technique, an outstanding technique.
Oh, unbelievable!
So, unbelievable.
So you find Herbie Hancock. You start to make a transition from classical to jazz.
Yes, in a way, I do remember attending a big concert of piano solo, Herbie Hancock, and I was 12 or 13. In that moment, I did understand that my classical career was ended. I keep going to the degree, the first degree, the 2 degree, but in that moment I realized that I wanted to do something like him, and I'm still in the process.
It is a process.
Yes.
And a lot of those originators pulled from classical music. We were talking about Dizzy. He was Ravel. I think Charlie Parker was a huge fan of Stravinsky. So I mean, there is, as we talked about, classical is very formulaic, but there's things that you can pull from.
Yes, these musicians were very influenced by classical stuff, mainly the 19th and 20th century music, because as you say, Ravel, Debussy, Fauré, they are this impressionistic stuff. They are like painters of sound. It's very floating. It's very, in a way, it's similar to the modern jazz, where you have different chords put together. Sometimes not with a strict relation of dominant resolving to tonic cadence, but different colors that give the shape to the. So yes.
Well, and the freedom that jazz gives you, as far as you're not. You can almost have a conversation with the other people that you're playing with that's not something that has been written down.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that freedom's got to be amazing feeling.
Yes, you have. I like this freedom. I like to surprise in a way the audience and myself. And when you play your music even with your rhythm section, the guys you play. Every night could be different due to many factors, the audience response, and here I'm playing some of my composition with his musician. It's different. I like this interplay. As you say, as a conversation, so maybe you touch a topic and you don't know where the conversation will go.
Does your playing change when you play with someone like him as opposed to your normal? I mean, do you find yourself? I mean, I'm not changed in the sense that like it's completely different, but are there nuances to your playing that are different when you play with someone with like Davide?
Well, anytime you put a new individual into the mix of any type of organization, it's going to change. And that challenge is really kind of cool because it makes you have to think differently. Okay, is he going to go to this chord?
Right.
Or Davide to do some things I'm not used to hearing.
Right.
So then I have to trust myself, say, I'm going to be here, and is he going to be there with me? Yeah, he is. So then you have this immediacy going on, and it's every time you do that, it changes the five of us in a group. And when that happens, all of a sudden, all the tunes take on a different flavor because they're not going to be the same as he mentioned.
Right.
Even if, like we played last night, and some of those songs that we played, I guarantee will sound the same at the beginning and at the end, but all the stuff in the middle, no, it's going to be different.
Yeah. Well, right, and that's interesting to me that, I mean, you both come from, I mean, you're born and raised here in Louisville, born and raised in Italy, and yet you still can have that commonality of listening to that ear. So
that's the beauty of this music. Is that no matter where you go, there's going to be a body of material that's going to be universal. That if I go to Italy or if I go to Brazil or go to Czech Republic or wherever,
right.
You say, let's play Green Dolphin Street, and they'll say, what key? C or F or E flat?
Right.
And you tell them, and go, and you do that, or you want to play a blues, or whatever you want to do. Girl from Ipanema, people throughout the world know that, but it doesn't sound the same as it does when you're in Brazil as it is when you're in England.
Yeah.
So all those things are important, and every time you play, it's like what we're doing right now. We're having a conversation.
Right.
We don't know what's going to happen. We did talk yesterday, and you had got a little information from us, but it changes as we talk right now.
Well, yeah, it just becomes a conversation.
Exactly.
So when you're here in the States, are you just trying to soak, I mean, I guess it doesn't, at this day and age with the internet and everything, it doesn't really matter, but are you trying to soak up as much, at least American jazz as you can, or?
Yes. I have a long partnership with a lot of different musicians that live in any part of the world, and when I came in the US, I like to join a project to be maybe a sideman or and for me playing here in the US is quite special because even though today jazz is a global thing, but it's your stuff. So playing jazz with American US musician in front of US audience, well, it gives me a special feeling in a way. So
yeah, well, and I guess the reason I asked that is because we talked about the fact that like the jazz scene in Italy is, I mean, it's
decreasing. Well, we have quite a pretty good scene, but after COVID, the number of proper jazz club, place where the schedule is tight on jazz, well, decreased a lot, and in a way it's a paradox because there are a lot more jazz students, young jazz players now, but in a way they didn't become jazz audience due to the fact that now you have YouTube, for the digital platform. Probably they don't have this urge to go live. And when I was a young professional, it was different because we were far fewer guys, but we tend to go all the time to the clubs to see the more skilled guy, trying to make connection, trying to go and join the band for a jam session. It was quite a rite of passage to become accepted in this family. So now the audience decreased a lot, and so it's killing the business in a way.
Right. But you're teaching jazz, are you not?
Yes. I'm the head of a jazz department in a school of Milano, and so we have a student. We have a lot of amateur. We work mainly with amateurs, so we can have children of 6 and the children of 66. So we cover all the ages, and there are a lot of enthusiasts. But for the young that want to become professional, there are a lot less opportunities, venues.
And he's being kind of modest. The school is his school.
Okay.
It's not a university as such as we would do it.
It's a school he created?
It's a school that he has with, about 250 people?
Oh, wow.
250.
And he has a faculty, so not only is he responsible for playing and teaching, he has to be an organizer, an administrator, a banker, all those kind of things that make a business work. So coming like now, I know the feeling, because when I was working full-time and got away from being there, I got to be a different person. So being here, I'm sure it's a freeing aspect, because I know he has things weighing on his mind right now. But being here, he can't do anything about it, so I'm going to play and have a good time.
Yeah. How long have you been doing that for?
Sorry?
How long have you been doing that for? The school?
In the 70s. In the 70s, they started this business.
Wow.
When I was just born.
Did you attend this school and then take it over?
No.
Okay.
My father, the other guy, started a sort of business of teaching music in a strange way, because they sell this lesson, but every teacher, they didn't have a venue. Every teacher used to work in their own studio. So when I was 32, I bought a part of the business with another partner. I went in a totally different direction. I thought is needed to have venue for children, for all that they have more than the one-to-one tuition of piano, saxophone, drum. They should have the opportunity to perform together, we form combos, we book big club in the city. And so from 80, 90 students, I arrived at 300, and after the COVID, 250.
Very cool.
I think that 2 or 3 of the biggest schools in Milano collapsed to the COVID. They didn't resist it.
And they never came back?
No.
Wow. So are you one of...
It was a tough moment, because at the beginning, no one in Italy accepted the smart work. We spent a fortune for camera, mic in order to provide regular tuition, but people weren't accustomed to this, and so they didn't accept. We want our money back. Okay, I send you money back. The second year it was a bit easier, because the stop for COVID was only 2 months, because they can manage. And at that moment, other things like yoga lesson, tai chi lesson, or working from your house was more common. And so they say, okay, we can have some front lesson in the venue, some in the... But it did change the thing, that period.
Well, I hope it bounced back. That's something, because obviously that's a commonality that you two share as far as not only musicians but educators. And I think the fact that you've been an ambassador of jazz for a long time, and that sounds like just a little bit. At least you got to retire from it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I did. Thank you.
But you're still doing so. We want to get into. I don't know how much time I have left, but I want to talk about you're doing the Brazilian camp again coming up, right?
We leave Tuesday morning.
Okay. Well, let the people know exactly what we're talking about.
We have the Brazilian music workshop. This is the second time. We had one in 24, and there'll be 20 people going to Brazil. People like us, adults, who some of them play really well, some of them wish they played really well, but want to get better, and some of the spouses are going along with them. And we'll spend 10 days in Brasilia, and that's kind of odd. People think of Brazil as being Rio or Sao Paulo, but Brasilia is in the center of the country, the capital, and there's so many great musicians that I know there from the years at school. Many of our alums from U of L live in Brasilia. And so the level of musicianship there is incredibly high.
I can imagine.
And they're all just willing to work together. And so we spend 10 days there. We'll go to a waterfall one day as a break from having classes. We'll go to concerts like this every night and spend the whole day. You start your day at 9:30 with a drum samba school. So everybody, whether they play music or not, can hit something. And we get them all playing by the time the week's up. And then once those 10 days are done, we'll take a plane and go up to a city called Natal, which is on the hump at the very top of the country. And if you think beaches are nice in Rio, nah.
Really?
The ones up there are just amazing. And we'll spend 5 days there with another former student at U of L, a grad, who has a program there at the university, and we'll do classes there. We'll go out and ride a boat on the ocean and go to a reef as part of it, and another part of it, they have dunes. And when you go there, it's all sand, and all of a sudden you go across this hill, and it's just sand and sky. It's like you're on the moon, and you have dune buggies.
Oh wow!
And the first time I did it, I couldn't believe how much fun it was. I have a video of it giggling the whole time for an hour and just laughing because you can't do the dune buggy yourself because it's dangerous. You hire a guy and you tell him how much fun do you want to have.
Right.
And takes off, and we go up and down. Then we'll stop at an oasis where there'll be a zip line, and you go down the zip line and fall on the oasis. So
this is all part of the camp?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. And you spend a day there. We'll still spend a day. They'll be exhausted by the time they get home.
Kidding.
Because we'll do that, and then at the end of it, we'll end on the ocean and have a seafood dinner or something, then ride back along the coast back to Natal, and we'll end our 5 days there and go back to Brasilia. Some people will go home. My wife and I are going to stay and hang out with friends and go to some other places and play music. And I try to milk it as much as I can because, like I said, these guys play great, and I get to do this, so it's pretty incredible. So I'm doing that. Then later on this summer here, I've changed the workshop that we do now because of demographics, as he knows, changes constantly. And I can see the writing on the wall that continuing as we were was not going to be productive.
Okay.
It's going to be too much to deal with. So we cut it down to 2 sessions. So I devised a program to where adults like us who want to learn how to play, they have questions.
Yeah.
And they want to go to a combo and play, but they also, I don't know what to do. I'm afraid. I'm this and the other. So we're going to have opportunity to have master classes with me and another faculty person during the day, and then we're going to apply that in sessions when we have the combos together. So that'll be in July, and if it's successful, I'll do it again. If not, then it's time to really retire.
And is that like the Brazilian camp as far as all skill levels, or is this reserved for?
No, it's they got to be able to play some.
Yeah. And
I asked them when they registered if they could rate their playing from 1 to 5 and to be honest about it. Yeah. And everybody is pretty good about it. They don't lie about it. I really suck and they really can play, or I'm really good, because they all want to get something out of it. So it's I'm pretty excited about doing it. And like I said, whether it's sustainable or not, we'll see.
Well, good luck. I mean, I think we talked about this last year as far as education is so important when it comes to stuff like jazz, because it's difficult in this day and age with all this distractions to kind of have somebody sit down and say, this is important because X, Y, and Z.
Well, what you're saying right there, I hate to interrupt, but like tonight, one of the things that we would do at the workshop that we hadn't done before because we don't have time.
Right. They
wanted to play all the time, and I get that. I want to play too. But most of the people don't know what to listen to.
Right.
They don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
They don't know how. They don't know the interaction between even if they can play music, they don't get it. If you just, I had a gentleman today for a lesson. He's 77. He started playing about 2.5 years ago. He's asking me questions. I have students at the college that didn't ask.
Right.
Of course, he was quite intelligent. He was a cardiologist and all that kind of stuff. So he's got his act together. But there's a gentleman like that who has these things, and we're playing. I said, do you hear what the drummer did? No. Listen to it again. Oh, I hear that. That's what you have to listen for. So that's what most people, when they go to a concert, whether it's classical or jazz or even folk or country or rock, what do you listen for? Half the time, and this is something I've thought about a lot. I used to play in a pop band, and we would play all kind of tunes. Bruce Springsteen. We played, the Beatles, whatever. And I was certain that as soon as we started the song, like My Girl, as soon as we did that, they're not listening to me. They're listening to what they remember in their head.
Right.
And unless we messed up the rhythm, or unless we did something harmonically incredibly wrong, they never heard it.
No.
And they did this, and I won't go into it, but one of our colleagues in the band was very clever and very humorous, and he would make up lyrics that were quite quite off color.
Right.
Margaritaville became something different. And we would do that, and no one would ever catch it.
Yeah.
So it convinced me that they weren't listening to us, because if they were, they would have said, you really shouldn't say that. And no one said a word all these years, and he did it, and we all would look at each other going like that. So one of the days we'll talk about what it's like to actually listen. I don't want to take too much time, but there's a colleague of mine who has since passed, Jerry Coker, who is very insightful on everything music, how to teach it, how to conceive of it, how to whatever. And he talked, one of the things that's going to happen tonight, these people who are going to be joining us are part of the concert too.
Yeah.
Part of our job is to take them on a journey, Jerry would say, and we go to a place, and all of a sudden, we may go this way, and they're expecting us to go that way. And all of a sudden, and if we do this properly, people can follow along, not knowing what's happening, but feel like they're part of it. If we go too crazy, then we lose them, because they can't have any connection. Or if it's too simple or too mundane, it's just like, okay, I know, you do it over and over again the same way. Like, for me, a lot of pop music's like that. It's like, man, that's, okay, do something different, please. But if you do that, you lose them too, because they become bored. So it's like, it's a game between, not a game, but it's a communication between the audience and the performers. They're part of it too. And if we do it right, they're going to benefit, and we're going to benefit. But you have to learn to do that.
Yeah, and that's kind of goes back to our earlier conversation of that's why I love jazz, is because it teaches you to listen, and you can take a piece, Coco, and listen to it. I've listened to that song thousands of times, but you hear something different.
Really, 1,000 times Coco?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh man, I don't
Charlie
want to
Parker
be in your head.
Yeah, that's way up there as far as two people conversing.
Yeah.
But that song teaches you. It kind of goes back to the instruments and the musicians talking to each other through their instruments, and the listener being able to be like, oh wait, Mike just did something that I wasn't expecting. That's super cool. I got to go back and listen to that again to make sure I catch it.
We can do that now. Used to be able to do it with records, but now with digital, it's so easy to go back. Like I'm learning new tunes for next week when I go to Brazil. I put it on my phone. It's through the wireless speakers. I'm playing it. I go back to 103, 103, 103 and play the part. And but one of the things we ought to share too, this band tonight has never played together.
Oh, really?
We had we ran through 3 tunes before we did this. And we could do that because we had the music.
Right.
We listened to it ahead of time. Now, some of us played last night together, but the actual configuration of these 5 people, no, we have not played till right now.
So, and then, there's 2 or 3 songs that are your original compositions. Are they looking, in a moment like this where they haven't played, are they looking to you for guidance as far as where do we go from here? Obviously it's written down.
Not as much, because they are very trained. The main difference with people maybe playing other genres of music, they are very trained. They did listen the recording. They are lead sheet, and we had a rehearsal in which we discussed. I like to have in the bridge this more floating stuff. I would like to start the solo alone. I like the guitar. So we define a field in which we will go moving around. Define it. It's a big field. It's not like classical music. If you play Chopin in a classic way, it's wrong. It's because it's romantic music, so it has to be more floating, more pedal. If you put pedal in Johann Sebastian Bach, you don't pass the test in the school. And so that's it.
And I selected music tonight that there are 3 or 4 numbers people are going to know.
Right.
But we're not going to play them the way they know them.
Right.
And we twist it around a little bit because that makes it interesting for us and interesting for them too.
Yeah.
There's nothing going to a concert where it's all new music. Even for me, it's after a while, it's like, I've had enough. I need to have something I can hang my hat on.
Exactly.
And so that was put into it. I thought about what songs would work and how can we do that and make it to where it'd be an evening people can enjoy it.
Well, Davide, you said yesterday you were worried that people wouldn't understand you. I think you did a wonderful job.
Oh, well, no, because, thank you.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
I'm better in playing than speaking in English. So, we Italians struggle to all the time. We have our language as other form of communication. So, you speak in a very clearly.
Thank you.
Way,
I try not to speak too fast as an
yes, because
American.
Americans speak so fast, contract everything. So it's a real struggle for us to understand. But thank you.
I'm really looking forward to tonight. This is always one of my favorite nights of the year is you guys coming in. And as I've been listening to your stuff and your dad's stuff, which is, he kind of reminded me of like the Frank Zappa of Italy.
Ah, yes, because the guy is very fond of.
Oh, yeah.
And so he went in that direction for a while and asked me to put some keyboards on this electronic stuff. This is quite interesting. It's totally different from jazz and totally different. I have a lot of piano solo that people say that I'm recording just for the money. But it's not true. It's partly true. But, I remember Arbuckle saying this in an interview, why are you coming this year? Money. And then, I have this new project and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Piano solo is nice too, but I like to interact. I like to play in quintet like this evening with two different guitar and sax is amazing. I like.
Well, this is the perfect venue for that type of music.
Absolutely.
So we're looking forward to it, and thank you again, guys, for sitting down. Great to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good to see you, Mike. Yeah.
Amen.